It's Wednesday night, episode 50 of Beyond the Noise. And of course, it's all about you, the chatters. So go grab yourself some popcorn and some drinkage and get yourself all nice and comfy. Prepare whatever it is that you might want to converse with us about. Well, converse about, and we'll get to it on episode 50 of Beyond the Noise.
Welcome to the sound, we're breaking through. The stories unfold, shining bright and true. Diving deep in thoughts, we'll take you higher. This is the movement, feel the burning fire. Let the voices rise in the echoing space. Join the celebration of every human face. Beyond the noise, we make our way. We make our way. Stories of courage, lighting up the way. This is our time, we're ready to play. On the Soar Network, we'll seize the day. From opinions that matter, we'll lift each frame. Reflect on the journey, yet we'll never be the same. In the heart of the noise, where the wisdom resides. Join us in the moment, where the spirit abides. We soar above it all, breaking every chain. Ignite the passion, let your heart sustain. Beyond the noise, we make our way. We make our way. Stories of courage, lighting up the way. This is our time, we're ready to play. On the Soar Network, we'll seize the day. Get ready, world, we're turning up the heat. Together we rise, can't accept defeat.
Welcome to Beyond the Noise. How's it going, everybody? Episode 50. I am Republic Sentinel, a.k.a. RS, the host of the show, and my co-host currently is not here. He will be here, maybe, possibly later. He's got work stuff. But the show must go on. And it, of course, is a show that is dedicated to the chat, who I have popped out over here. My co-pilot just took off on me. Where'd you go, Chief? Anyway, so I do have some videos of some ridiculousness that we can talk about, a little subject starter kind of thing, and then of course I will be paying attention to the chat, everything and anything that might be on your mind within reason. Damn it! Don't even ask me about the color of my underwear, because I'm not going to tell you anyway. Chaotic will. All right. So, for starters, and I don't want to, I guess we should get the unpleasantness out of the way. Did you guys see this? To the China craziness here in just a minute. Let's do this. Hold on one second. Did you guys see what happened in Kentucky? Just what was it? A day or so ago? There was a plane crash. There was a UPS cargo plane that crashed. I believe 6 people died. And throughout the day, I've been shared a bunch of different information about it. I figure, we do like to share some information here and there every once in a while. So I figured maybe we'd do that. To begin things, I don't know if you guys have any interest in the subject or not, but I found it to be rather interesting. I'm hoping that the audio is going to work on the darn thing. I have no idea. I'm not signed into my Facebook account. So, because that requires thought and stuff. But here we go. This guy is explaining what happened there. Can I start it over?
Oblong area. That is the majority of the area that was burning. Now, the majority of this is parking for tractor trailers and some junkyards and things like that. However, there have been a couple buildings in this area that were struck by the plane as it came down. Now, this is still a very active situation. There is a 1 mile radius shelter in place order. It was 5 miles, but has since been reduced. If you are within 1 mile of the Muhammad Ali International Airport, you need to turn off your heat or air conditioning system as soon as possible and close all doors until you receive further instructions. So I wanted to analyze where exactly the plane crash took place today in Louisville, Kentucky. If you hadn't heard yet, today, November 4th, 2025, a UPS cargo plane crashed just south of the Louisville International Airport, Muhammad Ali International Airport, as it was taking off. One of its engines fell off and caught the plane on fire. It made it about 175 to 200 feet in the air, clipped a UPS warehouse, and then crashed into an area south of the airport. Now, looking at the area burning, if you're looking at this, the plane was coming from the top left corner, I believe if you're looking at it, it'd be top right corner, down to the bottom right corner for me, bottom left corner for you guys. And I have 2 buildings that are circled here. There's the blue building over here and the green building over here as reference points. Now, if you look at this map, our green circled building, reference building, is that one right there. It's a warehouse for this junkyard down here at the very bottom corner. Then our 3 buildings, the blue circle buildings right there. The area that is on fire that was covered in jet fuel and all, that is the red circled oblong area. That is the majority of the area that was burning. Now, the majority of this is parking for tractor trailers and some junkyards and things like that. However, there have been a couple buildings in this area that were struck by the plane as it came down. Now, this is still a very active situation. There is a 1 mile radius shelter in place order. It was
okay. So we heard all that already. So there you go. That's what's going on there. Crazy. I think, like I said, I think I heard that 6 people died. God be with the families as they struggle. They struggle through that. I do know that there was another. I don't think I've got it. I don't think I got it. But there's some epic video out there of it crashing and just exploding. It was crazy. Powers 56. It's probably the Communist Party's fault. DEI. I have no idea what caused it. There's nothing out there as of yet as to what the actual cause was. I just like to antagonize people. All right, the other thing I was gonna, if you guys want to comment on any of that, you can. The other thing I was gonna throw at you guys real quick was this. Check this out. This is epic stuff. This is out of China. Now, I look, I'm not doing these full screen. I'm just adding a scene so you guys can see it. When I'm actually going full screen with something, I'll use a different. I'll do the screen share thing. This isn't all that big of a deal, but I think it's kind of epic a little bit. Well, here, you know what? Instead of doing this, I will share the whole screen with you. How about that? let's just do the screen share. I can't make this full screen because I don't want to log into Facebook because I hate Facebook. I legitimately hate them. But here we go. Check this out. This is 36 lanes of traffic. Yes, you heard that right. A 36-lane highway in China. Oops.
Of traffic, 10 million cars hitting the roads in total. What a nightmare. If you thought holiday traffic on the M1 was bad, spare a thought for these drivers in China. Okay, this is a kilometres long traffic jam on the country's G4 expressway. Drivers returning from a week-long holiday stuck in gridlock. I mean, it erased the holiday pretty quickly. 36 lanes of traffic, 10 million cars hitting the roads in total. What a...
That's retarded. But there you go. There's the communist efficiency. Hey, we can have them here. Not them, because they're, they're incredibly competent in China. All right, so there you go. That was just a couple of things that I figured I would throw at you guys to start things off. Anything on your mind? I see Greg Ohio, Firepaw, Power 56. What do you guys think? What's going on in your neck of the woods tonight? Anybody see any of that college football that's going on tonight? I think there's a couple of college games on tonight, right? Yes, I am a college football fan. It's the only sport that I have left that I actively watch, and I enjoy it. It's good stuff. I do believe you got Northern Illinois and Toledo, Kent State, Ball State going tonight. Let's see, what is Northern Illinois' record this year? 2-6. Ouch. Toledo's 4-4. You got Kent State 3-5 and Toledo 3-5. So there you go. It's a battle of the winners. Go ears? Ears? What ears, Firepaw? You have to explain this to me. I can definitely bring you guys up in the chat so that we can all look at it together. I think, therefore I am. Hold up, please. Oh, no, actually, I don't have the chat highlight. Layer taken care of. Well, hold on. And I don't know how I do that. I don't know how. That's why Yankee is the guy. So I guess I can't highlight the chat tonight. Someday, maybe I'll learn how to do that. Maybe I won't be quite so retarded. Mudhens, Klinger reference. Oh. Yeah. Oh my God. Are you really going that far back into history, Greg Ohio? You're dating yourself, which nowadays might be actually advantageous. I don't know. It seems like everybody's. Isn't that what? Who is that? Who is Hermione? Hermione, whatever her name was from Harry Potter. Didn't she say she was dating herself? I'm pretty sure she did. If I'm not mistaken, she says that she dates herself. It's because she doesn't. That's code for I'm a bitch and a pain in the ass and nobody will date me. Even though she's very attractive. But nobody wants to put up with her bullshit. I mean, I'm not saying let me make sure that I'm being accurate. Please hold. It would help if I could spell actress. How in the hell do you spell Hermione? Yeah, there we go. Thank God that they filled that in. Emma Watson, there you go. Emma Watson. So let's just see real quick. I'll ask a really basic bitch question. It filled in the blanks. Fans are worried for Emma Watson after she comes out as dating herself. Self-partnered. She is self-partnered. Could you imagine? Only somebody in Hollywood could actually get away with saying something that ridiculous. I'm self-partnered. Oh my God. That was, I think, that's October 17th, 2025. Despite previously declaring she was happily self-partnered. Oh, she may have found somebody. She may have found somebody now. So Emma Watson is not dating herself in a literal sense. The phrase refers to her using the term self-partnered to describe being happily single and content with her own company. She introduced this concept in response, of course, she introduced a concept, self-partnered. Code word, self-partnered. Isn't it just easier to say, I'm single, I'm self-partnered? There's more syllables. Just say, I'm single. Why is that like horrendous? Is that like terrible? I was single for the longest time. Who cares? It's actually pretty cool. You don't have to worry about paying for anybody else, what anybody else thinks. Are you making them happy? That kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy to not be single as well. But even when I was single, I was content. The relationship I had before was so. I don't know. Maybe dating yourself is like talking to oneself. Hey, I talk to myself all the time. I call it thinking out loud. I guess it would be easier to say talking to myself. No, thinking out loud. Thinking out loud sounds better. It's how I clear out the rat's nest that's in my head. It's just always garbage going. You too, Firepaw. Very good. Look, I'm not ripping on Emma Watson for being single, and apparently she's not anymore. Maybe as of October 25th, she may have met a match. Just say you're single. What would it's like they're embarrassed to say that they're single. Why? Who cares? You'll find somebody eventually. Or you're a pain in the ass and a bitch and nobody wants to date you. And you know, it's probably easier to just say I'm single than to put that out into the universe. Yes, so she was self-partnered. They say those who talk to themselves are smart. Yeah, well, I wouldn't. For myself, I'm not going to dump myself into that category. I am a dumbass. But I figure I get all the garbage out of my head that's just tumbling around all the time. That, what is it that Yankee and I talk about all the time? Your inner monologue. It's really hard to shut the voice inside my head up. She's unable to find a man in Hollywood with any balls, let alone the chutzpah, to lead a woman with a strong personality. Did you really just type that, Craig? Well, I'm sure there's plenty of strong men in Hollywood. Yes, they tend to like the weak, limp-wristed guys, but I don't know. Hey, who's to say that you got to date somebody in Hollywood if you're in Hollywood? Might be that you don't want to date within your job. Most of the time, those kinds of relationships don't last anyway. Narcissism. My voices don't shush. It's just the one. It's just the one, Firepaw. Unless we want to have a conversation about schizophrenia. I joke. I kid. All right, so what else? What else did I have for you fine folks tonight for conversation starters? I was going through the old X here. What is this? Oh, well, why don't we view this together? This is new from OMG. If you don't know, that's O'Keefe. That's James O'Keefe's new company after he got blackballed by the other company that he created. So let's just post it up. Let's go to the screen share. Make sure the volumes are all good. Yep. All right, so this just landed in my timeline anyway. This Prop 50 that I guess passed in California yesterday. Sure. Passed. Apparently, there's some corruption involved. Oh my God. Tell me it's not possible. Here we go. I'll let you guys watch the video with me. I haven't seen the whole thing. It's 9 minutes. I don't think we'll watch the whole damn thing, but we'll listen to it here. Here we go. This is from James O'Keefe.
So, is he going to run for governor? Newsom.
For president?
For president.
Probably. I don't know that I would vote for him, but I'm skeptical of a Democrat from San Francisco running for president. And he seems very lefty, which is why he's doing things like saying trans girls should not be competing in sports. He's trying to appeal, make it look like he's not so bad.
So is he fundraising for it and stuff like that?
He doesn't have any committees open right now, but that doesn't mean he can't open a committee later and transfer money.
Okay, so is he fundraising for anything right now?
For the ballot initiative Prop 50.
Oh.
We're very intentionally gerrymandering.
So if there's any funding left over from that and he decides to run for...
Say it's not so. We're very intentionally gerrymandering. Isn't that what gerrymandering is? Well, we can get into that little gerrymandering conversation too, if you'd like.
President, he can transfer it.
He can transfer to half, and then
Oh, and is that legal? It is. Wow.
Depending how you do it.
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you.
Did you see the look on that shitbag's face? He is the quintessential serial killer. I wonder how many people he has killed. He definitely looks like the slick willy politician that you could imagine in your head. I think he's a synth.
Governor Gavin Newsom of California has been all in campaigning for Prop 50. Proposition allows redrawing of district lines in California, potentially breaking up conservative areas and merging them into larger Democrat-leaning districts so GOP votes no longer win seats. Well, in the past couple of months, many were speculating if Newsom is running a shadow presidential campaign under this new Prop 50 initiative, but until now we didn't really have any evidence. Newsom appears to have some type of national political endeavor, as even CBS's Bob Costa asked him about his national campaigning in red states.
After the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought.
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying. And
You lie all the time, you
With Newsom
rat
aggressively
bastard.
touting Prop 50 right before he potentially decides to run for the 2028 Democratic nomination, our journalist met with Ross Pike, a director of the California Democratic Party. Pike oversees all of Orange County, Riverside County, and San Diego County for the Democrat Party of California.
I'm the regional director for the California Democratic Party, and I just finished serving as the acting chair for the San Diego County Democratic Party, which is the second largest Democratic Party in the state of California. So I serve in the number 2 position within the party. I'm the only Democrat and only LGBTQ person to hold 2 offices simultaneously in the county of San Diego. And then I just got re-elected this last 2024.
The California Democratic Party's director immediately revealed to the undercover journalist, he did not know that he was being recorded, that Newsom is not only the primary funder of Prop 50, Newsom is acting as its chief salesman, aggressively pushing it to the voters, potentially to later funnel those funds into his 2028 presidential campaign.
So is he going to run for governor? Newsom.
For president?
I mean, for president.
Probably. I don't know what I would vote for.
Do you guys know if he's thinking about it?
I'm sure.
But you don't know.
I would be shocked if he did. I'm skeptical of a Democrat from San Francisco running for president. And he sounds very lefty, which is why he's doing things like saying trans girls should not be competing in sports. He's just trying to appeal, make it look like he's not so bad.
So is he like fundraising for it and stuff like that?
He doesn't have any committees open right now, but that doesn't mean he can't open a committee later and transfer the money.
From where?
One account to another account.
Like what account?
Let's say he opens up a committee that he gets to represent. For example, start fundraising into that, and then the president transfers the money over to that account.
Okay, so
So there's an interesting idea. Maybe he won't run for president next in 28. Maybe he runs for Senate. What's up, Texan Spy? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, maybe he runs for Senate first. Then he runs for president. Because I think it's kind of... I think it would be rather difficult for him to win in 28. I think that probably Vance is going to have a clear runway. But I guess he'll have to look at internal polling. But wouldn't it be interesting if he did run for Senate, then ran for governor? Oh, and by the way, he uses the funds from Prop 50 to fund his committee.
Is he fundraising for anything right now?
For the ballot initiative Prop 50.
What's up, KD?
He is the major funder of that.
So if there's any funding left over from that and he decides to run for president, he can transfer it.
He can transfer to a PAC, and then, yeah.
And is that legal? It is. Wow.
Depending how you do it.
No, there isn't a, quote, depends on how you do it. What the California director here is suggesting isn't just unethical, it's not allowed under California state law. Law 89519 says surplus campaign funds can only be used for very limited purposes. Things like donating to charity, returning the money to donors, or transferring funds to a similar committee. What you cannot do is take that money raised for one campaign or ballot initiative and roll it into a completely different future run, like a presidential campaign. So if Gavin Newsom is bankrolling Prop 50 now with the intention of later transferring that cash into a 2028 presidential bid, as this Democratic Party official suggests, that would be a direct violation of California campaign finance law. As you may have seen on the California campaign trail, Newsom has told voters that Prop 50 is not about redrawing district lines.
Prop 50 is not about drawing lines.
Bullshit. I'm sorry about that. Gerrymandering is all about redrawing districts in order to favor your party. Period. Always has been, always will be.
On a map.
Isn't this the same Newsom who said he hates when a politician, quote, sits there and lies to you?
Nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and
look at his face. Doesn't he just a disingenuous piece of shite? And he definitely is the perfect picture of a governor of a state that has Hollywood and big tech in it. Perfect. How do I look?
Lies to you.
So the Attorney General is filing new lawsuits almost every single day. And right now what we're doing is with Proposition 50 is because you hear about how Texas is looking to redistrict their maps.
Yeah, I did hear that.
So California said, fine, we'll redistrict our maps. Literally what the talking point is fighting fire.
So it is gerrymandering in a way, but you're being completely open and honest about it. Like, that is what we're doing. Okay.
Very much. That's why ours is being voted on by the people. So that's the other thing is though, yes, we're very intentionally gerrymandering. We're asking the voters for permission. It's very much going to be framed as this is a fight back against Trump. Yes, I'm Prop 50.
Okay, I see.
That's how it's going to be. It's basically just leveling the playing field.
Ross Pike even agreed that the reason for the gerrymandering of California is to ensure Republicans do not hold office ever again.
So, with all that redistricting stuff for gerrymandering, is it going to come to a point where you guys, the goal is to not have any Republicans in office ever in California, period?
Ideally, but I don't think it's possible.
Now, if you were hoping the California Democratic Party's director was focused on helping California citizens, think again. On Hidden Camera, he proudly bragged about spending party funds to run Spanish language ads teaching illegal immigrants how to avoid ICE, even putting out alerts about where ICE was operating so they could steer clear.
Now, I will say, so when I was chair, what I did is I took a portion of our budget and I ran social media ads that were Spanish on what to do if ICE knocks on your door, things like that. And that's also another thing, is you'd have to fundraise specifically for that.
So you marketed for people to get resources how to avoid ICE, where they would be.
What do you do if you encounter ICE? What do you do if ICE knocks on your door?
And where to avoid them, where they'll be and stuff like that?
And yeah, a lot of promoting, there's an ICE raid at the grocery store right now, stay away.
Okay. Well, that's good at least.
We reached out to Gavin Newsom's office, the Democratic Party of California, and Ross Pike for comment. We're waiting to hear back from all parties involved. I doubt they're going to say, "You got me," because they never do, but we'll include their comment when we receive it.
Okay, we'll leave that right there. That was a good 7.5 minutes of listening to a bunch of garbage. Yes, so redraw the lines, Greg Ohio says, so he gives himself a seat in the Senate. Possibly? I mean, I don't know. One of the things that I do you ever notice that a lot of times with these people, this is not exclusive to the left, by the way. This is not exclusive to Democrats. You ever notice how they've just got to tell everybody what the hell they're doing? I guarantee you that guy feels no threat whatsoever. I guarantee that guy has nothing to worry about. Broke the law, nothing will be done about it. He knows that. But do you, even if there were some sort of penalty, don't you think he'd still be out there doing it? He's spreading this stuff. I don't know how these two hooked up. I don't know if the two of them are, limp-wristed or whatever. I don't care. But for some reason, this guy's just spilling his guts to this undercover reporter. This keeps happening over and over and over again. You'd think that by now they'd have gotten the memo. Been like, maybe we shouldn't be spreading this stuff to people we just met on Grindr. It's hypothetical. Let's see. What else do we have here? You guys got any? Someone won't have a job soon. I don't know, KD. I don't buy that. And look, even if he doesn't, right? What did they say was the head of the Democrat committee or something like that? I don't really even care. He'll end up being moved laterally. Right? That maybe they come out and we fired him. And then the next thing you know, he pops up in Oregon as the head of the freaking Democrat committee there. That's what the way these politicians work. That's why I've said, you want a secure job? Get into politics. You'll always have a job. No matter how smarmy or nasty or slimy you are, you'll always have a job. Because the slimier and nastier you are, the more they like you. Well, here's something interesting in relation to what we were just talking about. This is Caroline Leavitt, the spokesperson for the Trump administration. Let's see. Let's hear what she has to say about this whole Prop 50 thing. And, well, I'll just let her speak. I don't know. I haven't heard it. I just saw a little quote there. Here, check this out. Caroline Leavitt.
Legal and criminal review. By whom and why? And also, in this vein, does the White House still plan to issue an executive order banning mail-in voting, and what legal authority do you have to do that?
The White House is working on an executive order to strengthen our elections in this country and to ensure that there cannot be blatant fraud, as we've seen in California with their universal mail-in voting system. It's absolutely true that there's fraud in California's elections. It's just a fact.
That's so conspiratorial. Oh my God.
It is just a fact. They have a universal mail-in voting system, which we know is ripe for fraud. And if you want to deny that, I'm happy to provide you all of the evidence for it. I'd be glad to send that to you after this briefing.
Rigged.
Fraudulent ballots that are being mailed in the names of other people, in the names of illegal aliens who shouldn't be voting in American elections. There's countless examples, and we'd be happy to provide them. As for executive action the White House is taking, yes, we are looking into that. And like any executive order, of course, any executive order the president signs is within his full executive authority and within the confines of the law.
Okay, well, there you go. Right to the point. But of course, I'm sure that the butthurt are probably losing their mind. Right? She just said that there's cheating going on in the elections, and I thought illegal aliens were allowed to vote. It's bragging that I'm important. It's a mindset. Yeah. A lot of times, I think they just feel like they. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's bragging. Like they want to talk about it. They want it out there. They're proud of what they've done. Defiling the voting system in this country. You've heard Yankee and I talk about it numerous times. Yankee is in New Jersey. I am in Illinois. The entire state's red. But these blue, these handful of counties with these large concentrations of retards get to make the rules for the entire rest of the state. That is the overwhelming majority. It's like 2/3 of the state. In Illinois, it's even more than that. Is red. And these few counties get to make law for the rest of us. And it's horseshite. And listen, it's not like California is like new to the ball game here. And Illinois just did it just a couple of years ago. Redistricted, got rid of one of our reps. Not that he was a rep that I wanted, but what the hell? Kinzinger, piece of human filth that he was. He was the representative from our district in the federal government, in the House of Representatives. Piece of filth. What's up, Davi? Yeah, so I don't know. We're gonna end up seeing what the hell happens with the lawsuit. I'll predict it goes nowhere, just like every other one does. Let me see what else is out there. Ooh, Sydney Sweeney. Is Sydney Sweeney in the new Predator movie? Let's check this out. Oh no, never mind. No, never mind. That's a live stream. I was looking for a clip. Holy Jesus. Look at this. It's Chief. Check this out. This just came across my desk on X. This is insane. Very, very happy that nothing bad happened here. That's a golden retriever right there. That's a golden retriever. Watch what happens.
Oh my God! Grab him! Stop the car! Stop the car! Oh my God!
What? That's funny. AI video is amazing, isn't it?
Oh my God! Grab him! Stop the car! Stop the car! Oh my God!
That's good stuff. There you go. Man, this AI video, it's going to change things. Wasn't that good, Katie? Look what happened in New York. Sharia law coming. You know what, Katie? They voted for it, man. Hey, what did you guys get? Who won the governor's race in New Jersey? I didn't see. What's up, Peckerwood? How you doing? Anybody know who won the governor's race in New Jersey yet? Has it been announced? That Mikey Sherrill chick. Oh, the Democrat one. Well, again, it's just like here, so just don't misunderstand me. They get what they vote for. Same thing here. We got fat-ass Pritzker, who's going to also run for president, by the way. I don't think he's running for governor again next year. I don't think he can. I'm not really sure. Oh, here we go. Let's get some controversy going on up in here. Why not? Here's okay, so we have covered numerous times on this channel 3i Atlas, right? We did an entire show on it. And both Yankee and I are skeptical of the entire. I mean, we showed a bunch. We showed a couple, 2-3 videos of basically the science behind it all. But the aliens, right? Well, here, Katie, here to satiate you, Katie. We got Avi Loeb, who So this is from Alex Jones from AJ. Gotta play some AJ on the show. Love Alex. Even though I don't agree with him all the time. But I do agree with him sometimes. Actually, most of the time. But not all the time. Not a sycophant. But so here's some video of Avi Loeb. And I do believe that what Alex is, the point that Alex is going to try and make here, I'll let him speak for himself. But I think he's going to try and make the point that Avi Loeb is a CIA hack and that he's been spreading these lies. But here we go. Let's check this out really quick. Might as well. We got about 15 minutes till break, and it'll give us something else to talk about if you want. Here we go.
I did a calculation that indicated that in order for it to accelerate in the way that it did recently, it must have, if it's a natural comet, it must have lost a substantial fraction of its mass, of all the 20% or so. And we should see a very massive cloud of gas around it as soon as it comes out of the being hidden behind the sun. That should weigh of order 5 billion tons of gas around it.
No kidding,
If we
Davi.
don't see that, there must have been some other means of propulsion that gave it that acceleration. So that's very exciting. You know, it's sort of like going on a blind date and wondering who is on the other side. And, you know, it could be a rock. Maybe that's the most likely interpretation. But we should be open-minded. We should be humble because it's an opportunity to learn something new.
PSYOP is written all over it, and they have prepped it. Now, remember, the 3 in 3I Atlas means it's the third such interstellar object ever. There's only been 3, and they started up.
This guy reminds me of the guy from Discovery Channel that's always on those Ancient Aliens shows. You think he's going for that look? Remember, I can't remember what that guy's name is. You guys remember? The guy who's always got the messy hair and he's always, you know, talking about the... What's up, Liz? How you doing? What's up, Chaotic?
In 2017. So somebody deep in our secret space program was observing this stuff coming in, and it was heading in, and so they could do things like chart out Oumuamua and figure it out in advance, like with this one, with the timing of it. And I think they announced it long after they had actually seen it. I think they've been watching this thing probably for about 5 years. They only announced it in July, and they timed it very suspiciously with all of the buildup around Avi Loeb, who's a great physicist. His lab is right over here. He's practically my neighbor. But I will say this, that he is a part of Talpiot. We have to be aware of that right off the bat. And Talpiot is Israeli intelligence. That's where he comes out of. And when he first put Galileo together, I thought maybe this guy's doing something good because, you know, we need a scientific approach to the UFO thing. He's doing it out of Harvard. We'll see. And then he started putting in all of the intel people, CIA, Lou Elizondo, NGA, you know, all of these different types coming in, NRO. It was all the intelligence group. So that whole intel vibe, the intelligence community controlled Galileo project. Then he came to Congress and he could have been drumming up, you know, the whole thing. And instead he said, just give me $1 billion for myself to do this. So, you know, Avi's very opportunist when it comes to this, but he's also a major, major piece of this push for a UFO threat.
Let's go to the head of astrophysics at Harvard on Fox News a few days ago. I want you to come back and start getting in to the SKY event, or the colloquial term Blue Beam. Here we are with the 3I Atlas, with them basically saying it's an alien spaceship.
Welcome back. Let's check out one viewer comment. Travis Dell asks over on X, Will, whatever happened to all the fraud that Doge found at the beginning of the administration? Can you get us a follow-up? Starting to seem like nothing is going to happen. Well, interestingly, Travis, Elon Musk addressed that exact issue on the Joe Rogan Experience.
We did get a lot done, right? And Doge is still happening, by the way. The Doge is still underway. There's still waste and fraud being cut by the Doge team, so it hasn't stopped.
I watched this interview. Great interview. Highly recommend.
And they don't have like a clear person to attack anymore.
All right, meanwhile, now to this. We were spared last week from the Manhattan-sized 3I Atlas comet. It disappeared behind the sun with promises that on the back end we might know. Is it alien technology, or is it just simply a deep space comet? But the story still has our attention. And since, according to our next guest, the comet showed signs of non-gravitational acceleration, and a spotted blue color could be seen as a sign of an alien engine. Joining me now is Harvard professor and astrophysicist Avi Loeb. Professor Loeb, thanks for being with us here today. You have been the most legitimate voice, the most renowned or credible voice in pointing out this has some high probability of being something other than a deep space comet. I believe, Professor, you gave it a 40% probability before this latest evidence. Let's talk about what this evidence is. A blue tail and a change in pace.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Indeed, I did a calculation that indicated that in order for it to accelerate in the way that it did recently, it must have, if it's a natural comet, it must have lost a substantial fraction of its mass, of all the 20% or so. And we should see a very massive cloud of gas around it as soon as it comes out of the being hidden behind the sun. That should weigh of order 5 billion tons of gas around it. If we don't see that, there must have been some other means of propulsion that gave it that acceleration. So that's very exciting. You know, it's sort of like going on a blind date and wondering who is on the other side. And, you know, it could be a rock. Maybe that's the most likely interpretation. But we should be open.
I agree with you, Greg. This is all just pandering. This is... I know that they're getting a lot of views on this kind of stuff, and a lot of people are, you know, paying money for this crap. They want to hear this stuff. Listen, if it turns out to be an alien spaceship, what the hell are we going to do about it anyway? Launch nukes at it? Hey, give me a break. I'm with Firepaw. If it is aliens, they're just here to look at the zoo. They're here to feed the monkeys, maybe. To throw popcorn at the monkeys and see what they do. Yeah, it is fun. I'm not going to say it's not a fun story, but see, and I don't know anything about this, about Avi Loeb being part of Mossad and all that other stuff. Everybody's part of Mossad, apparently. Hey, if I come on here and say something negative about the Israeli government, I'm working for Mossad. Whatever.
We should be humble because it's an opportunity to learn something new.
Okay, so it has picked up speed, and you're telling me that is either because it has some alternate source of propulsion other than gravitational pull, or it has an engine. And if it does not have an engine, you're suggesting it should have been shedding size. That's the only way it would have picked up speed. So if it hasn't shedded size, essentially it's got an engine, and therefore it's alien?
Well, yeah, that would be a very interesting possibility. But the cloud of gas that it should have shed, you know, it's a significant fraction of its mass. So it was obliterated by the sunlight in that case. And
Wait. Didn't we show video of when it was going past the sun, it got blasted by like a Class X solar flare or something? Maybe that made the thing blow off part of itself. Maybe that made it blow itself. The sun was blowing it, honestly. But I mean, why is it that, you know, it's sensationalism? It's what it is. It's what it is with everything. They're making money. They're getting views. They're getting the eyeballs, so they get that revenue. Meanwhile, we haven't left Leo, low Earth orbit, but sure, let's spend another $1 trillion on it. Absolutely. This is why I think that all space exploration should be privately funded. Katie, wasn't that disgusting Sunday? Aliens taking you? Oh, was KD taken by aliens on Sunday? Did they probe you?
We should see that the object is losing a lot of mass into a cloud of gas. That's easy to spot with all our telescopes. We have hundreds of them around the globe. So within a few weeks, we will be able to tell. That's what makes it exciting. If there is no gas that it sort of shed and therefore got a recoil from that shedding, like the rocket effect, then it's something else that propelled it. And as you pointed out, it appeared bluer than the sun. That's very unusual because usually comets are red because they're surrounded by dust that makes them red. Their surface is cooler than the surface of the sun, and therefore they are redder. But this one seems to be bluer when it approached the sun. That's actually the time for a spacecraft to accelerate, to use the gravitational assist from the sun.
So last question for you, Professor. If my memory serves correctly, you had it at 40% before this evidence of acceleration and the blue tail. Now that you have this evidence, has your calculation changed at all? 40% that it is some type of artificial technology?
I would wait a few more weeks and either revise my ranking down to 0 or to 10. And of course, that's what makes science exciting. We shouldn't have an opinion about our dating partner. My best advice to people who go on blind dates is to observe the other side before having an opinion. Okay. So I'm just waiting for a few more weeks.
I think this date will end in early December, so we'll check back in and see how you enjoyed the date in early December. Thank you, Professor. And for all of you watching,
so when it comes back from the other side of the sun, we can see it. with radio telescopes and things, we're going to hear this. Can we trust NASA? I saw them a year ago with clear.
Yeah, God forbid we could have seen it when it was, I don't know, passing within miles of Mars, right? When we had all those different orbiters that could have looked at it. But of course, we just got digitized looking crap. Oh, we can't make it work. Oh, shut down. Blah, 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 blah. Get that dick out of your mouth.
Plants saying they're insiders. This is an alien spacecraft. This has PSYOP written all over it. Am I wrong? Daniel Liss, about to turn the broadcast over to you. I mean, what do you make of all this hype from the establishment? What's really going on here? Daniel Liss, your host of the rest of the broadcast. The War Room, Harrison Smith, 3 p.m. in about 40 minutes. Be sure to tune into that. Daniel Liss, darkjournalist.com. Take over.
Thank you, Alex. And you're right on the money. PSYOP is written all over it, and they have prepped it. Now, remember, the 3 in 3I Atlas means it's the third such interstellar object ever. There's only been 3, and they started up in 2017. So somebody deep in our secret space program was observing this stuff coming in, and it was heading in, and so they could do things like chart out Oumuamua and figure it out in advance, like with this one, with the timing of it. And I think they announced it long after they had actually seen it. I think they've been watching this thing probably for about 5 years. They only announced it in July. And they timed it very suspiciously with all of the buildup around Avi Loeb, who's a great physicist. His lab is right over here. He's practically my neighbor. But I will say this, that he is a part of Talpiot. We have to be aware of that right off the bat. And Talpiot is Israeli intelligence. That's where he comes out of. And when he first put Galileo together, I thought maybe this guy is doing something good because, you know, we need a scientific approach to the UFO thing. He's doing it out of Harvard. We'll see. And then he started putting in all of the intel people, CIA, Lou Elizondo, NGA, you know, all of these different types coming in, NRO. It was all the intelligence group. So that whole intel vibe, the intelligence community controlled Galileo project. Then he came to Congress and he could have been drumming up, you know, the whole thing. And instead he said, just give me $1 billion for myself to do this. So, you know, Avi's very opportunist when it comes to this, but he's also a major, major piece of this push.
But you see, that's why I would just figure that it's just not true. That they're just pushing this garbage like, you know, oh yeah, hey, it could be an alien spaceship. Give me $1 billion. I mean, it's follow the money. Follow the money. It's the way it always is, right? It's the cashola. It's the payout. I don't blame them. Grift. You want to grift? Grift. Hey, I happen to be a specialist in looking at UFOs and determining whether or not they're UFOs. Give me $1 billion. All right, we'll go a little further here. It's almost top of the hour. Almost time for our break.
For a UFO threat. Now, he's coming in from a different side because when they pushed this UFO threat operation, they started that push at the end of 2017. And they've been doing it with progressive whistleblowers, congressional hearings. Oh, there's a threat out there. We need your money for a UFO defense office, which they have got in various forms through Arrow and other things. So they've been attaching that to the National Defense Authorization Act. And no matter what, if you attach it to the NDAA, it's going to get through because you're holding up $1 trillion in defense money. So the key to having people like Kirsten Gillibrand, the senator from New York, or Marco Rubio, who's now the Secretary of State, in this age of disclosure video documentary. This was actually shot close to 2 years ago. They're going for a huge release. And remember, this is Spielberg's producer, Dan Farah, putting this thing together. And they're coming out with this. This is coming out now for November 21st. And it is all of the spooks and the entire spook community saying there are, you know, evil UFOs out there and we need a UFO defense office to fight them off. This is where they're coming from. And that, what you're looking at there is on the right, you've got Steven Spielberg. On the left, you're looking at Dan Farah, who is the director of this. But he's also Lou Elizondo's agent. He's also the agent for all these whistleblowers, getting them Netflix deals, Amazon deals, and all the rest of it.
See, none of that shocks me. None of that shocks me at all. That Hollywood is all involved in this. Steven Spielberg's all involved in this. None of that surprises me whatsoever. You know why? Because if I knew ahead of time that there was some interstellar object coming through the universe, that blah, 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 I'd be like ramping this up for Hollywood too. Oh, we got to be advantageous. Timing is everything. Get this out there. And cha-ching. Cash in, baby. I don't doubt it whatsoever. Not even remotely. I put nothing past any of these people, including the intelligence community. And of course, we know that the three-letter agencies work with Hollywood all the time. That's not even new. That's not even remotely new. That's not even conjecture. It's been revealed multiple times. So all those things considered, none of this surprises me at all. And to me, it's a money grab. It's cash. It's cold, hard cash. It's cold, hard cash. Firepaw says, well, Spielberg did make Star Wars. No, that was George Lucas. Spielberg made Close Encounters of the Third Kind and E.T. and Indiana Jones, which was magnificent. What else did Spielberg make? I don't know. He may have worked with George Lucas on Star Wars. But I don't. I think it was just George Lucas and his wife, right? Yeah, I think he did do Men in Black, didn't he? Oh, now I'm going to have to look this up. Liz! I kid. Steven Spielberg did not direct Men in Black, but he did serve as a producer for the film and its sequels. The director of the 1997 Men in Black movie was Barry Sonnenfeld. Spielberg's role as producer was instrumental in getting the film made, including convincing key cast members such as Tommy Lee Jones and Will the Smack Smith to join the project. So there you go. All right, it is the top of the hour, and you know what that means. Time for our top of the hour break. If you're new here, welcome. Glad to have you. Normally, my co-host Yankee Free is here with me, but he has got work endeavors that he is committed to at the moment. So I'm flying solo. Going commando. Not really. I have on pants. So anyway, if you are new here, please hit the follow, hit the repost. Really helps out with the Rumble stuff. Gets us out there. Make sure that you share it with anybody who might like it. Hit the like button. If you don't like it, don't care. Yankee would tell you, oh hey, by the way, put a comment and tell us what we could do better. I say if you don't like it, change the channel. He has a much more eloquent way of saying it, but not me. I do want to get into this whole Tucker lashback that came out with what's his name, Seth Dillon and all the other cackling heads that are out there whining about platforming Nick Fuentes. I do want to touch on that before the show is over, but yeah. So outside of that, please stick around. We're gone for about 5 minutes, and then we'll come back. We'll hit some more subjects. We'll talk to you, the chat. And if Yankee does get home in time, he will be joining me to end the show out. We will have to see. And and then I got to go to work. Yippee! All right, so don't go anywhere, everybody. We love you. We'll be right back. Thank you for watching Beyond the Noise, a subsidiary of SOAR Network. We're live every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. To ensure you don't miss the show, make sure you follow the channel and share it with anyone you think might benefit from our work. You can find Yankee every Friday night on his Living Yankee Free channel for bourbon and beer for some irreverent fun with friends. Or drop by his music channel, Patriot Jams, for good tunes to get you through your day. Better yet, follow his main channel, Yankee Free, for all alerts for any of his content. You can follow RS on his main Rumble channel, Republic Sentinel, for alerts for all of his shows, and TRS News for an alternative take on the news. If you have specific questions for our guests or the hosts that you would like to be read on the show, you can drop a Rumble rant. You can support the channel by simply hitting the follow button. And if you feel so inclined, become a paid subscriber. Welcome back to the show. How's it going, everybody? Peacing out, Liz. Well, it was good to see you anyway. Glad that you made the stop in to watch me rolling solo without that Yankee Free. Can't wait to have him back. Hope he's dealing with his stuff and junk that he's got going on. Well, how you guys doing, chat? You comfy? Did you get yourselves a refresh on the drinkage or anything like that? Let's see what we can do here. I did want to, if I may, let's cover this real quick. Not going to cover all of it. It's quite long. Let me get this forward here. So, all right, if you don't know who Dave Smith is, he is a political pundit, as it were, and a comedian. I like the guy to an extent. I know he's a libertarian. I used to be one of those. No, I'm not an anything-anarian. But, so you saw us cover it Saturday night, if you were here. 4-hour stream where we covered the Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson conversation. And surprisingly, it was rather interesting. There has been a response from the weirdos on the right. I think we touched a little bit on this on Monday. But I figured that I would allow you guys to see this latest right from the horse's mouth. This is Dave Smith interviewing Tucker Carlson on a response to the retards that have a problem with him platforming Nick Fuentes. Let's get into this. And then, of course, well, we're not going to play this whole thing. We'll get into some of it, and then I'm going to, of course, yell and scream like the retard that I am. And then we'll get to the chat. Here we go.
Welcome to a brand new episode of Part of the Problem. Oh, do we have a good one for you today? Very quickly, before we get started, I do just want to remind everybody, as I made the announcement last week, my amazing wife has written a children's book, which is beautiful and so sweet. It's called Healthy Hibernation. And it was, because of you guys, it was like the #1 ranked children's health book. And it was up at the top of children's books. So we're both so happy for that. It is available for pre-sale right now on Amazon and also on bookbaby.com. And it will be there in time for the holidays if you get it. Now, it's the sweetest thing ever. Just a book about talking to kids about eating healthy in this world of being a young parent where, you know, there's a lot of poison out there, and that's a good conversation to get started. Okay, without further ado, there is literally no one I would rather have as a guest on the show today, and partially because there's basically no one I enjoy talking to more at all times, but particularly this week when there has been this massive coordinated cancellation attempt. I've seen this happen to other good friends of mine. I was right around when Joe Rogan was going through this kind of massive coordinated effort, but it did not feel nearly as vicious or at least as close to inciting violence as this one does. So of course, we're welcoming to the show the great Tucker Carlson. How are you, sir?
Well, I couldn't be better. Thanks for having me, Dave.
Oh yeah, of course. Anytime. Obviously, you have an open invite onto this show. So a lot's gone on over the last week or so, and obviously it started. You had Nick Fuentes on your show. I had just had Nick Fuentes on my show a few weeks before that, but as has become custom, you have become my human shield once again, where all the outrage is generated toward you, but all the deaths are still my fault, as the human shield logic works. But so there was this huge show that you did with Nick Fuentes Then Josh Hammer, as I covered on my last episode, wrote this incredibly disgusting and creepy piece for the Daily Mail about it. And then there was a big event, I believe it was Genocide Fest 2025, where the theme of the entire thing was that Tucker Carlson is not MAGA. And in fact, there were calls to cancel Tucker Carlson. And so I kind of want to go through all of this as best we can and respond to it. Let's start with the podcast that you did with Nick Fuentes, and maybe a little bit about the one I did with him as well, because I thought there were similarities between the two. And one of the things that I just find very interesting about this is that all of the neocon Zionists are insisting that you didn't see what you saw on that show, that something else happened, that what happened on this podcast was Tucker agreed with all things Nazism or something like that, when in fact, for anybody who did watch the show, what you actually heard was Tucker Carlson tell Nick Fuentes and the world that it is against his religion to hate Jewish people, or any group of people for that matter. And so it's just, there is something so, I don't know, it's just this crazy world we live in, but there's something so still to this day startling about watching someone go, my deeply held religious views are that I can't hate Jewish people.
Yes, Firepot was called Healthy Hibernation, and it's about healthy eating for kids. I thought that's really cool. You know, let him get the plug in there for his wife like that. And listen, Dave Smith's a good guy. I'm not going to sit here and really badmouth him. I don't agree. Shock! I don't agree with him on everything. Just like I don't agree with Tucker on everything. But when they're going to get into this, this is what I just wanted you guys to hear it right from Tucker himself. These retards are getting all butthurt because he actually had the audacity to platform Nick Fuentes, whom I don't have much of an affinity for, by the way, but he didn't exactly sound terrible on that show either. And I saw Dave Smith's interview with him 3 weeks before that, and he came off good there. And Dinesh D'Souza did an interview with him 3 months before, and nobody had a problem with that. And Dinesh was nothing but kind. They were both nothing but nice to each other. And what? Dinesh D'Souza says something about this being a Tucker licking Nick Fuentes' butt or something like that. I hate these people. I hate them.
And then the response is, look, a Jew hater. So bizarre.
Well, right. And it scrambles the literal brain. And I am literal. I'm a writer, so I believe in words and their meaning. And I think they have nuance, but basically fixed meanings. And so to see someone lie or speak in a way that's dishonest, but totally unmoored from physical reality is always bewildering. And you're like, but no, that's not, I said the opposite. Right. And then you realize, of course, it's not about you or what you said. It's about something bigger. And there are a couple of things. I mean, the most obvious on a political level, this is a fight over what happens after Donald Trump. What does the Republican Party look like? Does it actually adopt an America first foreign policy as promised 10 years ago?
What's up, Cass Ass?
Or does it maintain its neoconservative posture, which is very unpopular with the public and has borne no fruit? I mean, it's been a disaster on every level for the United States for, since 9/11, at least. But what happens after Trump goes? And that's what this is about. That's why they're vesting the energy in this. That's what the rage is about, because they don't want to lose control of foreign policy. I just can't say that enough. It's about foreign policy. They don't care about domestic policy because they don't care about the United States, but they do care about the U.S. Treasury.
Okay, so that they're right there is part of it. It's about U.S. foreign policy. So they're trying to say that, and you'll see this, Tucker Carlson isn't MAGA. He's not MAGA because he platformed Nick Fuentes. And I saw Moonlight Rider say, I'm not a Fuentes fan, but all this cancel stuff is crazy. Let people speak. How else can you see what they're about? Precisely correct. And when you see, and trust me, I'm going to pause and react like an absolute Well, here, I think I can do this so that I'm like down in the screen with you guys. Get rid of this. Go like this. So now I'm down over here. Hi. I'm very small compared to these guys. I'm very, very small. Yeah, so when these guys talk about, hey, we're not going to be like the left. We're not going to cancel people. Right? We're all about free speech. And then Tucker Carlson interviews far-right Nick Fuentes, uber nationalist, right? Who, admittedly, I thought the most provocative thing he said on that entire interview was that he's a big fan of Joseph Stalin. That was newsworthy. All the other stuff he said was MAGA to the core. It was America first. It was nationalism. There wasn't even a whole lot of... I know that Nick has gotten himself in trouble a few times for saying things that seemed anti-Semitic and all about, white nationalism. I'm not getting into any of that. He didn't really say any of that during the interview. So I don't care. And for Dinesh D'Souza to come out and say something like, he went really easy on Nick. He didn't... What did you do, D'Souza? What did you do? Oh, did you push back really hard on his white nationalism bullshit? No, you didn't. But, of course, Tucker's licking his ass.
And the Pentagon, the projection of force on behalf of Israel. And so that's what they're arguing about. And again, that's a very unpopular position with the public, which is why they don't say it out loud. My position has always been, I'm not ashamed of my views. I'm happy to talk about my views with anybody. I don't think I have any reason to be ashamed of my views. I think they're actually kind of moderate, honestly. They're different from the way things are operating now. And of course, I disagree with the direction the U.S. government's taking in a whole bunch of different ways, but I don't think we should burn the U.S. government down. My view, which I know is yours as well, is the U.S. government should act on behalf of American citizens. America first. Doesn't mean a bellicose posture. Doesn't mean you attack people. In fact, it probably means you attack fewer people and you shed less blood. You act on behalf of your citizens. They own the government. They pay for the government. It's in their name that all this is being conducted. So that's a really simple concept. It's the most powerful, resonant concept in American politics. It brought Trump the majority of the popular vote. And I believe it. I sincerely believe that. And most people do. They don't. So that's what this really is about. As for Fuentes himself, I thought a lot about it for many reasons. And for one, Nick had attacked my family, my father, my wife, one of my children by name, a lot. And so it's hard. It was hard for me to get over that, For another, as I've said a million times, I thought he was a Fed. And I thought this was part of an op designed to tar sane, anti-neocon, pro-realist foreign policy people like you and me and Glenn Greenwald and Sachs and, normal people, tar us as Nazis. I did suspect that. I don't know if that's true or not. I raised that with him. But basically, in the end, I decided Nick Fuentes can't be canceled. They've been trying since he was a freshman in college. It doesn't work. In fact, he's gotten bigger. He is enormously talented. Anyone who denies that is lying. And he has a not fully coherent, but a semi-coherent kind of position. And I would like to hear what it is, because that's kind of my job. And I'm also interested because he's the most influential voice for men under 30 in the United States. More influential than me, more influential than you. I don't think there's any question about that. I spent a lot of time thinking about this and talking to a lot of people about it. And I think that is true. So it's not like I didn't make Nick Fuentes, hardly. I just want to know what this is about. And I wanted to make the point that I often make and now seems even more important than it ever has, which is that virtue and sin are not transmitted genetically.
Right.
There is no such thing as blood guilt. Therefore, collective punishment is always immoral. God created each person individually. He did not create communities at once. He created people, and all of us will die and in the end face God alone. So it's about the person. And people can be changed by God, by the way. And the New Testament is that story of people who were, in the case of the whole hero of the New Testament, the human hero, was a guy called Paul, was murdering Christians as a Pharisee. and then becomes the greatest proselytizer in the history of Christianity and my personal hero. So like, don't tell me that people can't be changed because of their blood. Now, that is the basis. That position is the basis of Western civilization. We often talk about Western civilization, and we're all defending Western civilization. Israel's defending Western civilization. Israel does not have a Western position on this question.
Chaotic. It's Tucker Carlson and Dave Smith. Dave Smith is a comedian / pundit. And, of course, you know who Tucker Carlson is. But, the reason that I'm even playing any of this is because I can't stand the idea of canceling. I have very contrarian positions when it comes to the conservative right and to the liberal left. I like to think of myself as a free thinker. I like to think of myself as somebody who thinks for themselves, makes my own decisions based on information that is siphoned to me or that I seek out. And I get things wrong, just like everybody gets things wrong. Boo-hoo. Admit that you got it wrong. Move on. Nobody cares. There's plenty of people who have opinions that suck ass, right? Or that platform people. Listen, if somebody went out, if I let's just say, God forbid, I scored an interview with Nick Fuentes, and I decided to put that on my channel. Do you think for a second I would listen to one single cocksucker who told me, you shouldn't be platforming him, you're just giving him a voice, blah, blah, blah? He's got almost 1 million followers on Rumble alone. Who cares? You see, the right should not be doing this any more than the left should be doing it. If you don't like what the man has to say, change the channel. Go watch something else. Go spank it. I don't care what you do. You're not supposed to be in the business, especially if you're supposedly on the free speech right. This is why horseshoe theory is a thing. You tards. You freaking retards. The people that would stand to silence these people, you're retarded. And you don't stand for what you claim to stand for. Free speech is free speech. Go fuck yourself. If he's calling for the outright murder of people, then charges should be pressed against him. Free speech is free speech. Now, we've talked about this before. If it's my platform and somebody comes into my chat and is disrupting my chat, I'll boot their ass. That doesn't mean I'm booting them off of Rumble. It means I'm booting them out of my space. Right? I don't want to hear from them. If people don't want to hear Tucker interviewing Nick Fuentes, don't listen. It's just like Alex Jones. You don't like Alex Jones. Everybody canceled Alex Jones. Why? Because you don't like what the man says? Fuck off. And it's not exclusive to people on the right. There were plenty of people on the left, especially during COVID, that got exiled from the internet. Sent to one place in particular, Rumble, because they don't give a fuck. This is why I love this platform, and I love all of you people who decide to come here and hang out in the chat and talk about the stuff. And the reason that we talk about it is because if we don't, and if we don't emphasize this, and if we don't spread this around, you won't have a voice either. I won't, you won't, nobody will. We won't have a place to go. God bless Chris Pavlovsky. God bless Rumble. They actually platformed people and gave them a voice. You have the choice not to listen to it, but Chris straight up said, no, a Canadian, by the way, straight up said, nope, we're not silencing anybody. Go right ahead. Well, okay, but Moonlight Rider, thank you, by the way, but when you hear more of this, now look, Tucker's going on about this thing, about this being, being bought and sold by a foreign entity, right? The Israeli lobby. I get it. I'm not anti-Israel. I can't stand Netanyahu. I can't stand some of the things that that their government are choosing to do. And you know what? Here's the thing. I have something to say about it. And you know why I should be heard? Not just because we have free speech. We pay for it. I pay for it. You pay for it. You pay taxes. We're sending them all this money. They should be beholden to the U.S. taxpayer. You're going to take U.S. tax money. You should be beholden to us. Cock suckers. Don't take our money then. You don't want to hear what we have to say. You don't want to hear people criticize your government. Don't take our money. It's that simple. I'd rather you not take my money because I think there's a ton of things that we could spend our money on here in this country, like infrastructure. There was a report that came out not that long ago on Zero Hedge talking about how many bridges are about to collapse in the United States. Or let's get to the food stamp issue. I think that we're a rich country. I think that nobody in this country should starve unless they choose to. I'm not opposed. Look, if they are going to take the money, why not give it to the people who are starving? I have no problem with that. Of course, we don't want there to be fraud. And of course, that should be investigated, but only bureaucrats would facilitate that fraud, of course. But in a democracy, you wouldn't have that kind of fraud because the people would be, the apparatus would be beholden to the people. But that's not what we got going on right now. Our government, just like the Israeli government, just the UK government, all of Europe, the whole Western fucked up world is beholden to the big money and not beholden to the people that put these people into office and where this money is going. So I understand why he's making the point that he's doing. I don't care if Seth Dillon is paid by the Israeli lobby. I don't care if little Ben Shapiro is paid by the Israeli government. I don't give a shit. But don't come out here and start telling me that Tucker Carlson can't interview Nick Fuentes. Because what? It hurts your sensibilities? You jack off? Nobody cares, Ben. The people, what was there? Like 10 million people watched that interview, something like that. Apparently, nobody cares what you think, Ben, or Seth Dillon, or the other, or Dinesh D'Souza. Maybe take a page out of your Let's Not Silence People fucking book and stop silencing people. Instead, why don't you debate the issue? You know what? You know what, Ben Shapiro and Seth Dillon? Why don't you interview Nick Fuentes and ask him the questions that you think that Tucker should have asked him? And instead of doing gotcha bullshit, because we'll all see it, we'll all know it. But see, I think that you can't do an interview without doing the gotcha, without putting somebody on a hot seat and making them, taking them out of context and making them defend it and making them dance because it makes you feel better.
The Israeli position, not of all Israelis, by the way, and certainly not of all Jews, but I'm saying of the Israeli government and of a couple of its ministers, which they say this out loud all the time, is that everybody who's related to a terrorist shares in his guilt. That's collective punishment. It is blood guilt, and it's antithetical to Christianity and to the West. And so for me, and by the way, Israel's not the only country that does this. Most countries do this. Literally most countries do this. All of Asia, India, this is like an intuitive response that people have. Russia, we're going to punish the family too because they're related, of course. Only the West, and I mean specifically the Anglosphere.
Well, now, and did you hear that? Because everybody calls him a Russia propagandist, right? A Russian apologist. He just said it. That if you do this shit in Russia, they'll not only silence you, they'll silence your family. They'll imprison your entire family. That sounds like he's a Russia advocate, doesn't it? Assholes.
Western Europe, because their foundation is Christian, reject that explicitly. Our justice system is based on the individual. People who do good things are rewarded. People who do bad things are punished. It's about the individual because that's our religion. And so I just wanted to make that point, not because of Israel or Fuentes or anything, but because that idea right there, that specific idea, is the Western civilization we are struggling to defend. And its opponents are domestic. The neocons do not believe that at all. Clearly, well, they're attacking my family just like Nick Fuentes attacked my family. So I just wanted to say that. I want to say that in every venue because it's a feature of my religious faith, but it's also my inheritance as a Western man, as the product of Western civilization. And that's what I want to defend. Randy Fine does not believe that. Of course, Lindsey Graham does not believe that. Of course. So the idea that I hate Jews, obviously I don't hate Jews at all. Of course, obviously, it's almost feels beneath me to say that, but it's the fact. But
why is it? Why is it that these Jewish pundits always go to the Mark Levins and all these other? Why is it that the first thing up, because we criticize the Israeli government, you're an anti-Semite? Why is that the first place they go? Are they that insecure about their group? Because if I'm not mistaken, and I think he'll speak to it here in just a second, Dave Smith is a Jew. Dave Smith is Jewish, and he's a practicing Jew. I have Jewish people all over my family. I love them very much. They love me. It's harmonious, and I'm a Christian. Why is it that these pundits always go to he's a Jew hater, he's an anti-Semite? You know what? Mark Levin? I think you're a master baiter.
I'm not allowed to hate any person because of the group he's attached to. I reject. That's what identity politics is. It's the belief that people are either better or worse based on how they were born. And that is not a Western understanding of people or of God. And that's why identity politics doesn't sit right with most Americans, even though you could make a case for it. We need to redress this past injustice or whatever. But most people sort of know it's unfair. Why is it unfair? It's unfair because it treats people as components of a larger whole, as part of a group whose individual choices make no difference. It's like, you're black, therefore you're a criminal, or you're Jewish, therefore you're bad. Like, that whole way of thinking is evil. It's anti-Christian. And that is the true attack on the West and on Western civilization. And so I hear people like, Randy, fine, we're defending Western civilization. Oh, are you really? No. You're its main enemy. And so Black Lives Matter, its main enemy. And not because they're black or Jewish, or nothing to do with that, because the idea is wrong. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to say that every day for the rest of my life. I will die for that belief. I mean it, because it's my religious belief, and it's also true.
All right, guys, let's take a moment and thank our sponsor for today's show, which is the Wellness Company.
A little bit.
The Wellness for $30 off. All right, let's get back into the show. Yeah. And for somebody who's watched you, religiously, no pun intended, over the years, I always watched your show on Fox News. It was, in fact, I used to talk about it on the show. It was at the end the only cable news show I watched. I couldn't even hate watch the other ones anymore. They just got too boring. I used to hate watch it. There was a good time where you could hate watch MSNBC and it was fun, but after a while, it just wasn't even fun anymore. You're just like, oh, Joe Scarborough's sad like this. But this was, as you covered the entire really rise and fall of insane wokeism over those years, this was always your view. You were consistent about this throughout the entire thing. And look, one of the things, and this is what I thought was kind of interesting about Nick Fuentes and why I had him on the show, and I assume part of the reason you did too, right, is like you just said, look, the kid is enormous. He is humongous. I don't, by the way, when I say kid, I don't mean that to be like condescending. That's how 40-year-olds talk about 20-year-olds. But so he's enormously talented. He's enormously huge at this point. And then I had planned the episode with him before this, but after the murder of Charlie Kirk, he really went out of his way to hit all the right notes, and and to really be kind and Christian and to condemn violence and I appreciated that. We were at we're still at a dangerous moment in American history. Tensions are very high. We just witnessed the biggest political assassination of my lifetime, and also, this is somebody, you knew him better than me, but I was friends with the guy. It's a very jarring thing when this happens. And it's a very jarring thing. First off, you watch your friend get publicly executed. Second of all, he's kind of in the same line of work as you. This is a time that's kind of scary. I have very little children. I'm not prepared to get killed yet. And so for somebody who's supposed to be the biggest voice in the most radical right-wing pocket of America, for him to be calling for Christianity and peace and condemning violence, I was like, hey, that's awesome. And okay, so there's a lot of other things he's said where he's really intentionally saying the most provocative, outlandish thing, and there's a whole lot of humor and trolling that's kind of involved in it. Sometimes it's not exactly clear to say wait, do you really mean that? Do you really mean the craziest thing you just said? But look, also, I remember being in my 20s. There weren't smartphones and social media and podcasts back then.
Right. Same
Thank
here.
God. So I said a lot of wild shit in my 20s too. And so you almost go, okay, well, now you've found yourself in this situation where you're like bigger than you've ever been. And now you just watched your big political opponent get publicly executed in this horrible way. And now you're sitting down for conversations with me or conversations with Tucker, and we're kind of going like, hey, what do you really believe here, though? What do you really mean by this or that? And I am sorry, but anyone who objectively watched either one of those or both of those podcasts, it is just undeniably clear that me and you, this is just objectively true. Me and you did not move 1 inch on our views on what we've been saying the whole time. And in fact, look, when you said the thing to Fuentes about, hey, we're both Christians, like I went at it from more of a libertarian perspective and you from more of a Christian perspective, which makes sense. But I basically said to him at one point, like, you're telling me I say it's the Israel lobby and the Israeli government, but I'm not saying it's the Jews. Well, what do you mean? Let's talk about this. And he kind of conceded that, like, oh yeah, this doesn't apply to all Jews. And then when you said it to him, he kind of conceded, like, yes, I'm also a Christian who has that same worldview. And okay, so look, I'm not even saying, is Nick Fuentes moderating? I don't know exactly. Maybe he's just clarifying, but if there's anyone who is moderating, it was him. And if he is moderating at all, I think that's great. I think that'd be him doing the right thing. I would rather him come a little bit, in that direction. And again, what's kind of interesting to me about it, right, is that, look, I kind of tried a couple times during my podcast with him, as I think you saw it. And there were a couple times where I'd be like, hey, okay, well, we agree on this. Let's talk about this. Now let's talk about something where we don't agree. Let's get into this. At one point, I just brought up the Holocaust. Like, are you saying, do you really think the Holocaust didn't happen? Because, like, we could talk about that. Like, let's get into it. And not in a, like, I'm offended way, but like, no, let's actually talk about the history of it or whatever. And he didn't really want to argue about it. He was kind of like, yeah, no, I get your point. It probably did happen. Now, those clips aren't circulating. Now, all of these, now think about it, right? Think about the fact that the people who say they want to fight anti-Semitism so much, they aren't circulating the clips where Nick, on my podcast, explicitly rejected racial hatred. On your podcast, when he agreed with you that Christians can't believe in collective guilt. People don't want, Ben Shapiro's not clipping that for his show today for the greatest hits. No, they're going back to all the worst things he said. And I think this should tell all of us something. They actually prefer that. Well, they prefer that he be a neo-Nazi so that they can attach him to you, so that they can argue to cancel you and argue that you're not a part of this GOP coalition, rather than saying it'd be better if we at least left the door open for this guy to maybe reflect on some of this stuff and maybe reject some of the things that we find a little bit. Look, Nick Fuentes is never going to be a bitch. He's never going to go out here and beg for Ben Shapiro's forgiveness, which he never should, because who the hell is Ben Shapiro? But like, if he is maturing and he is clarifying or moderating, isn't it something that they all are allergic to that?
Of course. And in general, they're, what they fear, and not all, but let me can I say one thing? The thing that bothers me maybe most about torquing up the rhetoric to the point where you're calling people Nazis who aren't Nazis, very anti-Nazi, always have been, will continue to be. I will never become what they call me. That's part of the game, right. Of course.
Okay. That's about that. I highly recommend you go take a look at that. There's still like an hour left of that. And Moonlight Rider, maybe possibly he went a little easy on Tucker. I mean on Fuentes. I'm not gonna. I don't know. I've seen the interview like 3 times now. I thought it was very decent. But the issue that I have here is like they go to all of this cancel, don't platform, you gave him a voice, you made him bigger now, blah, blah, blah. Because Charlie Kirk, back when Dinesh D'Souza interviewed Nick Fuentes, again, Dinesh D'Souza, who was talking about Tucker Carlson licking his ass, right? Interviewed him, and it was very cordial. These same people are making these claims. This is what happens when you don't give people a voice. they slink off into the dark shadows of society. And they fester with a whole bunch of other people with these weird out there crazy ideas. And they bring their own statistics and facts to the right? Which are all partially true or whatever, maybe a little bit true. And that's where they reside. And that's where the monster grows. So rather than do something like that, Seth Dillon, Mark Levin, maybe talk to the man and try and be reasonable. Speak reasonably. You see, because when Tucker did this and Dave Smith did this, there was a bunch of common ground that was reached. That's how you exorcise the demon. That's how you get the monster out, is by bringing these people in to talk about it. Doing what you can to point out where they're wrong. Being humble enough to accept where you may have misperceived something that they were saying. Of course, I think that Nick goes for the whole shock jock kind of thing, right? So he says a lot of provocative things to try and get people to come watch his shit, right? So I can understand that. It's just like, hate clicking, making these thumbnails that are kind of disingenuous or whatever. That's just trying to get the hate click. It's hate bait. It's, clickbait shit. It's no different. Hey, if it gets out there that you were saying this crazy fucked up thing, then a whole bunch of people will come watch just to see what it is you say. And then, of course, you can use that as your platform to be able to, get out your actual thoughts instead of your kind of crazy, extreme, crazy shit that's not real. But regardless, it doesn't matter if that was his shtick or not. I don't care. He still deserves a voice. And if Tucker chose, just like if I chose, to interview the guy, any single person that said, you shouldn't be platforming him because you're just giving him a voice, I'd say, change the channel, dick. You don't have to listen. It's not. This is the thing. So the right is doing the same stupid fucking thing the left is doing. Horseshoe theory. Fuck both the parties. Can't stand any of them. Can't stand the parties. I think that there should be no political parties. I think that you should ride or die on your stupid ideas or your good ideas. That's the way I feel about it. Good night, Chaotic. Yeah, we're wrapping up here in about 10 minutes. Anything else that you fine folks would like to speak about tonight? I managed to get in a couple of rants tonight. It feels good. I miss my partner, of course. He will be back for the Saturday show. By the way, just had some work type stuff he had to deal with. And look, just once more on the whole Nick Fuentes thing. I don't agree with some of the things he says at all. But I don't agree with some of the things that Tucker says. And I'll tell you one person I really don't like that everybody's kind of lumping all these people together. I don't like Candace Owens, like at all. I have absolutely no love for Candace Owens. I wouldn't think for a second anybody who has her on her show. You know what? I would have her on the show just to talk to her. In the back of my head going, I can't stand this. No, I wouldn't. I would be as openly objective as humanly possible. I am a human. I do have my opinions, but I would interview Candace Owens. But I don't think that she should be canceled because she has some messed up out there thoughts. There are things that I do agree with her on, but she comes from the identitarian left, and now she is an identitarian conservative. I don't like identitarianism. I just don't like it. To me, it steps outside of the boundaries of logic. Identitarianism kind of is fueled by emotion. I like to try and dip into reason and pondering and considering. And just because somebody says something doesn't mean it's true. Look it up. Hell, you've heard me right here on this show correct myself. When I said didn't, blah, 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 and then I look it up and, I was wrong. I'm about that. I just don't like these, it seems like a trap to get involved with identitarianism. It just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't work. Again, it's not for everybody. It does seem that she's emotionally vested in everything she talks about, which I don't like. Yeah, right, Moonlight Rider. I don't hate Candace Owens. I just really don't like her. And I think that she does. It's like she gets all emotionally invested. It's fine. Again, she's got way more followers than I do, or this channel does. Way more. Obviously, she's doing something right. But, yeah, and same thing with Nick Fuentes. He's got tons and tons of followers. I like Nick Fuentes more than I like Candace Owens. But I'm not a huge fan of Nick Fuentes either. I mean, he's all right. He is. I would agree with Tucker in the fact that he's pretty talented. He does have the gift of gab, right? And he invests himself in his in his beliefs, I guess. And if there are things, and there are things that I agree with Nick Fuentes on, that doesn't make me a Nazi. That doesn't make me, hey, he loves Joseph Stalin. I think Joseph Stalin is one of the most despicable human beings who's ever lived. Didn't he kill like 30 million people, most of them Christians, if I'm not mistaken? So, yeah, I wouldn't be on board with that one, Nick, but that's all right. And I'm sure he's got his reasons. I have no idea. I don't care. But that doesn't mean that I can't listen to what other things that he says and go, oh, you know what? I agree with that. Look, Nick Fuentes, it won't even run for office. Well, he wouldn't get elected. He just doesn't seem authentic to me, but who knows? Well, maybe. Did he ever circle back around to the Stalin thing? No, he never got to it. I would have loved to. And in that Dave Smith interview, Tucker does say, I totally missed that one because he was talking about this other thing. And we were supposed to circle back around and cover it. And I didn't get to it because they got into the whole problem with male and female relations in the West and the birth rate being down and yada, yada. And some of what Nick talked about, I agree with. Some of it I didn't. All interesting. I thought the entire interview was interesting. It was a good conversation. So it is getting to that time. We have got to find ourselves someone to raid to. We're a little early on doing a raid, but it's time to start considering who it is that we raid to as we wrap up the 2-hour broadcast. Anything else that's on the mind of the chat this evening? Kind of figured it was a good idea to bring some stuff to talk about. I knew I wanted to get to that response that Tucker had made. And I wanted to talk about that unfortunate plane crash in Kentucky, the UPS flight. Just in, car explodes during fire in New York City, injuring multiple firefighters. Holy shite. Damn. Well, here, maybe as we're wrapping things up. Ash is live and so is Handy. Well, if I have my druthers, I know where I'm going. And it turns out I do. Here, let me show you guys this real quick. This is some wildness. Here we go. Check this out.
Oh!
Wowza. Do that one more time.
Oh!
Damn. All right, so supposedly, I think there are multiple firefighters injured in that. Pray for them. Let's hope that they aren't, nobody's dying tonight. I have no idea what the cause for the fire was either. But that was just posted up. Yeah, that was messed up. Yeah, no hangman tonight, I don't think. That's a good question, Moonlight Rider, but I don't think, don't quote me on this, I don't think that electric cars blow up. Because I think that battery, I guess it's possible, but I thought that they just burn forever. I mean, they could blow up. I don't know. Maybe they do. I think they usually just catch fire and just burn and burn and burn and burn, like really, really hot. And then they just never, it takes a long time to put out. You can't put them out. Like they just got to burn out. Lovely electric cars. Exactly, Greg. Don't add water. Oh, will they explode if you add water, Greg? I'm sorry. I've seen some of the fires, but I also see that a lot of people who get caught in those fires don't have a chance to get out because they're all electric. The doors won't open. You know, the locks are fucked and the whole 9 yards, and people just sitting there and cook. Sounds like a hell of a way to go. All right. We can do exactly what you were saying there, Mr. Greg, Ohio. God bless you, Greg. God bless everybody for being here tonight. I love you guys. I really, really do. I know that Yankee feels the same way. It's like a grease fire, hey? That doesn't sound fun. Oh, so it just spreads all over the place? Yeah, me too, KD. Me too. I'll stick with a gas car. I'm good with it. I have no desire to be inside. Aren't they saying stuff, Greg, maybe you would know, I don't know, KD. Don't they say that, like, there's electromagnetic fields inside of there? And, like, they have to adjust the screen so that you can, like, look at them? Because if being inside that electromagnetic field distorts everything or something like that, they have to adjust the screen. So I don't know. Maybe that's not true. I don't really know. Yeah, those are very good to have around. The window breaker seat belt cutter, absolutely. It's a good combo to have. Yeah, Moonlight Rider. I've got V8 Magnum. I got a Ram 1500 with that big old gas guzzling V8 Magnum. Love it. Love it. You're not going to get me to dump that anytime soon. It does need some work. It is coming up on 10 years old. It's 8.5 years old, something like that. Good evening, Yankee. You're here just in time. We're leaving. Hope all things went well for you, sir. You haven't put gas in your car for a month now, KD? What do you got? A Honda? A Hyundai? It's got the hamster wheel inside, right? Oh, good. It was a good night. Good to hear it, Yankee. Very, very good to hear it. You'll have to fill me in. Oh, everybody missed you too, Yankee. Everybody missed you. I fill my tank 2 times a month, $30 a tank. I fill my tank once a week at $65, $70 a tank. It's a pain in the ass, but I love my Ram. I love my Ram to death. It's a beautiful truck. Treats me good. All right, so I have to wrap things up because I got to get ready for work. I want to speak for Yankee Free and myself and say we love you guys. Thank you for being here. If you're new, hit the follow, please. Hit the thumbs up. Yankee will tell you, hit the thumbs down if you don't like it and leave a message. I say if you don't like it, fuck off, change the channel. That's just my way. But we will be back on Saturday night to have some fun with you guys. Don't know what we're covering. Don't know what we're talking about. Don't know what's going on, but we'll let you know on Saturday. We will be raiding out. Please, when we do the raid, make sure you follow. Hit the like button if you're not already following. Hit the follow and repost because that's always good for the Rumble creators. And we are going to raid out to my very good friend, Ashelon. Good dude. Love him to death. And I would really appreciate it if you would join us on that raid. So I am confirming the raid now. It'll be at the top. Until next time, everybody have a fantastic night. Please join us Saturday. We love you. Join the raid, and we'll be back soon. God bless. Peace.
Thank you for watching Beyond the Noise, a subsidiary of SOAR Network. We're live every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. To ensure you don't miss the show, make sure you follow the channel and share it with anyone you think might benefit from our work. You can find Yankee every Friday night on his Living Yankee Free channel for bourbon and beer for some irreverent fun with friends. Or drop by his music channel, Patriot Jams, for good tunes to get you through your day. Better yet, follow his main channel, Yankee Free, for all alerts for any of his content. You can follow RS on his main Rumble channel, Republic Sentinel, for alerts for all of his shows, and TRS News for an alternative take on the news. If you have specific questions for our guests or the hosts that you would like to be read on the show, you can drop a Rumble rant. You can support the channel by simply hitting the follow button, and if you feel so inclined, become a paid subscriber.